Hello friends, welcome to Zach Animate Studios, your channel number one for graphic design and animation. In our previous video, we created an XAF application. Right about now, we are going to create an API. So this API is going just to be a C# application. So C# web application. So let's just hit create new project, and then we are going to name it as API. At the same time, we already installed we got to install the WebStorm to start working. So this is just what we are going to create right now, an API, just a normal API, and then thereafter we are going now to create the functionalities. It is going to call data from our XAF database, and then from the API, we are going to transmit that data to our Angular application. So that is our pipeline, our flow pipeline. So guys, let's just test it out and see how it's going to look like. As you can see, it's really struggling. So let me just close the Angular part first. Let me close this Angular application first, and then we just get to see that this application is working. That is my channel. Let me just close it first so that the computer has to be fast enough. So we are just going to close other projects so that we ensure that I realized I had opened so many tabs and it was making the computer become less active. So this is what we're just going to do. We are going to create this part. So let's see. I just have to close up also that one so that we ensure we have only Visual Studio running. I don't know why it's taking that approach. Wow, 2 minutes. Something is out of place. Okay, it has started running. Okay, hope it will load all the templates. Visual Studio 2019. So let's try it out. Let's see how it's going to look like. I don't know. Visual Studio back. Let me try to hit the back function and see. I don't know why it's taking that long. So what you're going to do, you're just going to create a new application, and then this is going to be Angular not Angular, Visual Studio web. We're going to cover web, all platforms, Windows. Project type, I really want it to be a web, cloud. So basically that is cloud. ASP.NET, just ASP.NET, this one. Okay, it's a .NET C# application. So with that, you're going just to hit next. So we already have, and then we are just going to call this application we already had the first application. So mobile application, let's just let me give it a nice name. The main app, it was called a main app, mobile apps, mobile folder, mobile apps. So our project was called main tour, so we're just going to give it as main tour API. Okay, main tour main tour API. So that is our mobile that is going to be our API application. So it is just going to be a simple MVC application. So we are going just to call it web API, and then just here we can change to individual logging. So basically with that, that is what we want. So it's going to be a restful application. So that is what we are going to do right about now. After we have created our web API, we need now to have, okay, it is creating right away. That is how you create your web API. So after it has created, we're just going to run it, a test run, so that we see how it's going to look like, right? So today we are on a dark mode, which really looks perfect. I think my setup really looks good. It is okay. So we give it a second for it to create that tour application, that tour API, and then we can be able to see the code structure, the file structure of a tour application. That is what we're just going to see is the API. We are going to see how the API functions are created. That's it. That's what we are going to achieve today. So that's what we want to achieve today. Task manager. I just want to see my task manager, how it behaves. I've really taken this computer to the edge. 100. So what you're going to do is let me see. I'm going to kill up some functions so that there's so many functions that are running on the background. That's why it's taking that long. So let's see. Visual Studio. This is we are running 4.7. I think this was the oldest version. We'll test different versions and see how fast this application is also running. So let's give it a shot. I don't know why it is taking that long. I don't know why it's taking that long. So let's okay, it has already created our API. Eventually our REST API has been created, and we can take responsibility and see how it looks like. So, okay, so you are telling us, so we can just don't report that entity framework and all that. So here are the folder versions. We have the content, it has the bootstrap files, models, we have the identity model, account model, bindings, and then a controller. We have the home controller and then the value controller. So basically it also takes the value of API, they get requests. So this is what we are going to achieve. And if you just want to test out the way you create an API on Visual Studio, that is how you just create a simple API. There are new technologies within Visual Studio that have already come, and I believe we are going to test them out so that we see how good they look like. So let's just build it up. I think for the next coming months we're just going to be doing a lot of Visual Studio and seeing how good these systems look like. So guys, that is how you test out. I think there is a lot of we call them account control. Most of the applications right now have been given that account control. So with that, remember our database, it's a MySQL server, and we are just going to test them out just like that. So with that, we need to see on our browser our application. We are going to also to see how we do some debugging, the process of debugging, catching up with errors on our application. So brace ourselves to get to understand all these modulars and modules that are within Visual Studio. So guys, without further ado, we already have our API running. So we just call it an API. Is just the same as the website. Trust me, when you look at it, it's just a website, but now its functionalities will really matter. So with that, when you look at it, they have different functionalities which we intend to cover. So right now it is being compiled. As you can see, some processes on the event, some things are being compiled. We are going to see how we are going to create all this, how to stop, to comment out on these functions, that is stop debugging, and that is being debugged. How you can put so that is your stop, you are cancelling, basically you are adding some so that you can read your codes better, because I like Visual Studio because readability of your code, it's very easy. So you can see those applications being run. That is an API. And how we access the API, let's just give it a run and take you to the link where those APIs are. Okay, the links for the API: application interface, application, something called interface. Okay, let's just that the name is API, so we have the API there, API. So that's it, guys, that is it. So it's being loaded. I don't know why it is taking so long, but we can look at the debugging features: breakpoint, exceptions, command line. Visual Studio is very detailed. The output, you'll be able to see where these things are being worked on. You can see there's a program output on that line. Let's check it on our browser here. Now this is our browser. The API has already loaded the home page and then the API. If you want now to check the API, also what you need is you need a postman. That is postman. You need postman for your APIs. So let's just go to APIs. If you want to get all the values of values, so we just get that that link slash API. So that link, and then you're going to add their API. So we are going to get all the values. You can see it is coming in an XML format. You can change it to JSON format. This is let me just expand it. As you can see, it is an array which is coming as an XML format. At the same time, it can also come as a, let me see if I have Postman. I have Postman. So I'm also going to just to show you how you're going to use your APIs using your Postman. So if you don't have Postman, you can download, can get Postman. It is free. Getting Postman is free. So I already have Postman here. The Postman application is being loaded. So guys, you don't have to worry so much. So when you are setting up environment, you must like have the way you are going to test up your application, the tools that you are going to test up your application. So you have your Postman ready. This one is going to call, you're going to view data. Basically you're going to see if you have some variables that are tokens. You can add the tokens from the Postman. So I'm sorry, these things are being opened today the first time, but I believe starting from tomorrow all these functions will be, I know they will load faster. So when you want to test out the feeds, so you just get that link, Control-C, and then you're going to put on your, because it's a get function, you can paste it there, and then you can send the request, and then you will be able to see the value that comes. Okay, here you are telling us unable to verify a certificate, so you can just disable SSL, and then you can see from Postman you'll be able to see the value is this one is a JSON format. You can see raw format is the value, and then you can see also that. So basically this is how you get the values from an API. Okay, so when you click on send, you'll be able to see the values of data from your API. So that is how you get value from data from an API. So that's how you get, so that is the most important. So basically this data will be coming from a database. I told you we have our database of information, and so basically our API will be connected to our application, that is which we had earlier on, called main tour.api. So I think in the next 2 minutes we can connect our API to that database. So let's first ensure that our application is running, and then our database also is running, and then everything is running. So to ensure that the values from the database. So there's other aspects of learning that you are going to see here. Here we have the entity framework from XAF. Okay, basically data models from Microsoft, we use entity framework. We also have from the Dev Express, we have XPO objects. So we have other types of models. We have the XPO models, that is XPO. XAF models. So they also have their data models, which we are going to create right about now. So we are going to create two of them that we are just going to use to connect to that database. So what you are going to do is we are going to go to our Tour app, Tour API. We are going first to stop it. We are going to create a folder called data. Okay, this data is going to get data from our database. So the way to connect to our database, first we are going to create a folder here, a folder, new, add new folder, here, new item. We are going just to create a folder first. This folder we are going to call it data, and this data we just want to have data model of X. Okay, entity framework. So this one is going to hold data for entity frameworks. That is, it's going to connect to our database from the other end. You remember we had our SQL server. This one, management studio. I'm just going to open it up, and then with the SQL server we are going to glimpse and see how we can connect using we are going to use entity framework from using our API. So it's going to we are going to get data from the database, that is into our entity framework, and then that entity framework can be passed into our API endpoints. So this is what we call endpoints, like endpoints. From this point the data is being exposed. So this is how we're going to do it as fast as we can. So our API there, we are going to create add new item. So what you're going to do is just we're going to hit new item, and then we're going to see all the features that come with X, that is not XF but API, that is Visual Studio. So we are just going to be here we're going to go up to data, and then we have said we are going to do entity framework. So entity framework, we're going to select Ado.NET data model. So this model we're just going to call it like data model because it's in the data folder there. So we just hit that, and then so basically it's going to give us a source where we are going to source our data. So from a database, from entity framework, from code first. So we are going to go from a database, that is. So that is what we're going to do. It's going to create for us a connection string. A connection string, because we don't have yet a connection string. We can say new connection string. We can decide to connect that okay, we can decide to save that connection string into our web config file. So basically the web config file, I will show you, that is where we first changed our, that is where the database connects to the application. So from SQL server, this is our SQL server. I remember I told you that is our SQL server. For data protection also and security, you can always rename your server. That is the way it looks like. So what you're just going to do is first we ensure the service is running. Remember service, how you go about it, you can access it through that point and then just open service, as you can see, if it is giving you some errors like this, it means the service for SQL Server is not running. So we go to services, and then we go to we just click open services, and then you are going to look for my SQL Server. This is so basically my SQL Server is not running. So what you're going to do is you are going to go to my SQL Server. That is not running, so you're just going to start it. Okay, you click on that and then start that service to get started. So that is how you get your SQL Server started, so that it runs as efficient as possible. So basically in Visual Studio, when you are working on internet, basically when we are working on cloud, all these services are always running, so you don't have to set them up. But if you are creating an application and you want to solve it for your client, like basically you are setting up for him SQL database, this is what you're going to do. You're going to enable that SQL service to run, and then now you can connect. As you can see, when you connect to it, it will connect to that database, and then you'll be able to see it running. Let me just close my door. Okay, sorry. So the service is running, and then you can now connect to your SQL Server. So we are here at the tour API. We are going to connect to a server, connect to SQL Server, so it is running. So right now we had specified our server as local host. So you can just write, because it is in your server, in your own PC, on your server, you can just specify name local host, or you can give it the name the way it was being shown on the previous screen on SQL Server this side. So you can give it this name, like that name, or you can just give it localhost, and then you can test. Okay, you will be provided with a list of databases in your database, in the list of databases that are in your server, and then you can personally connect to the specific database that you want to connect to. So this is our database that we want to connect to. That is the database you need to connect to. Then you can test connection. It will tell you the connection has succeeded, which means you have the right connection string, and then you just say okay. You can decide to connect that, can make that connection string. You can decide to save this connection string to your save this connection string to your web config file, or you can also decide to save, just not to save it on the config file. So for now we are going to save it there. Yeah, you can decide here. You are being told you can decide the connection string is a sensitive data, so you can decide if you put it on a web config file. The problem with that, it can be stored. Either somebody can either, let's say somebody accesses your server, he can access that file, and then it can be a problem to your organization. So the best thing is you can save it on a specific place that you want to save it. You can save it on a specific place that you want to save it. So you can save it like that, because I'm going to save it on config, and also at the same time we are going now to create. We have just saved it on web config file for now. At the same time, we are going also to we are going to have like 2 connection strings. I'm going to show you how to use this is entity framework. At the same time, we are going to use another connection string as XAF connection string, so it is called an ORM connection string. So guys, with that, you can see you can specify the things that you want to be, so you can specify the tables that you want to access, like that one. So you just select tables that you want to access. All these are the tables that you're going to access. So with that, you can say, you can click and say finish model space. So that is going to be it's going to be saved in your API. Okay, that is your API. So after you have done that, we are going to also do some connection string as we are going to also to use ORM connection string at the same time. It's also cool. It has a nice vibe. I've done it. So guys, don't give up yet. It's amazing how you do. So basically what we have done, we have just connected one table, that is customers. That is what I've shown you guys. So that's it. That's what we have connected with. So we are going to create also another folder. This one is just going to connect us with, or this is called an it's called an, or okay, it's called it's an we call it what? We call an entity framework data model. At the same time, we can also have so that's what we have for now. I'll say I trust them. It's going to add those DLLs into our application, which is okay. So it is adding the entities, all that entity framework tools for our applications that are required for application. At the same time, we can also, so I realized you can use different tools from ASP.NET. So we have that data model. So we just have a model for customers. This is what we are going to connect to, and this you can now still add first name, last name, email address. As we are going to continue, I'll show you. You can still update. You can update this data model from existing database. That is, if you are working on that database and you have added more fields, you just come and update this you update this data model, and the updated fields will appear here. If this one, if it didn't have, as per now we have first name, last name, email address. Maybe you have date of birth and all that other fields. You can just update this one, and then all those information will be updated from this side. So this is a first way we can get the data model. We are going to create another folder, so just that is how you are going to create another folder. This folder, it is also a model to access data. We can also call it something like data. You can give it data XAF. Let's just give it like data X. Let me just give it as data X, because so we are going to add an XAF ORM data. So I've told you it's going to have another model for accessing data. This is going to be, we are going to use ORM from XAF, because we are connecting this database from our XAF database. So this is another, so we are just going to ORM data model. I don't think that is okay. Let me just cancel it out. I need to do another I'm just going to use the new function here so that I get the right thing that I want. So I want this one ORM. Okay, so I'm going to call it, or this is what I wanted, by the way, ORM data model. I'll just give it that way. I'm just going to give it a run wizard. I'm just going to collect now data using that ORM data wizard, and then so it's going to collect data. Basically it's going also to show us how we are going to collect that data. So it is just the same as XAF, map to an existing database, create new database. So we are mapping to an existing database, and then that database is called localhost, as you can remember, and then we're just going to select the database main tour. You can import all those functions. You can also now connection tour. So that is what we want. We don't want all the tables right now. We just want customer table. So with that customer table, and then it has all those tables, that all those fields. I'm just going to say yes. So that, okay, so that is it, and then we're just going to hit finish. So this one is going to connect, going to have all these functions, that ORM. These are the tables that we have as the same as this one. You can see this and that, the same as we have there, and then you can just now save. When you save them, it's going to add also some functions. That is, it's going to collect, it's going to add on our here on our DLL files that we have, we need. It's just going to add those functions of XF functions, that is F data functions. Sorry for that error. Okay, I'm just going to connect it again, don't worry. Server, it's called okay, remote desktop. It's a remote desktop ring. It's called Zaki, sorry. So that is from my server. Sometimes the internet gets down, and okay, too bad. Yeah, let's just connect it again. That's the goodness of working with several PCs. Okay, so we are 30 minutes out, but I believe somebody has learned one or two things. Connecting with databases. Okay, connecting with databases using ORM or using XAF. Remote. So the juicy part is coming soon. Creating a controller function, creating all those functions. So creating a class with those functions, then passing data from the API into the database, back to API, and into the application. So guys, some juice is still coming. Don't give up, as we have not yet give up on you. I don't know why my server is not being connected. Let's try it again. Not that one, I'm sorry. Remote. And this one, I don't want to connect to that one. That one doesn't have the systems that I want. So guys, thank you for cooperation. Sorry for my network. Sometimes it misbehaves, but we are still there. Yeah, we are back like we never left. So we were connecting, cancel. So this was the API. This was the API that we had created. Okay, so I've just told you, so basically what it has done, it has added references for XPO functions or RAM functions and also data model. So basically we have to reference that onto our classes. So we need just to create a controller here, value controller. You can see we have started getting some errors. Let me see. I used to have something what we called manage extension. Let me just see if I still have it. It was called this extension for Visual Studio. I had one extension here and I think it's not being updated. Dev Express, not Dev Express, but there's a function. I think it's not here, so I'm going just JetBrain. I think we have problem with my JetBrain, that's why. But this function, I think now we just have to have our JetBrain working. So let's just see. It's still working, but there I don't believe it is broken. JetBrain is still, I have JetBrain extension for debugging, so guys don't worry. I already installed it. JetBrain was here. JetBrain was here, my friend. I told you today is the day that I revived my dead working station. Okay. So it is not yet dead because it's still working. Our workstations are dying, but we are still hitting hard. So guys, we still have to hold on tight. Yeah, I think it's poor network. My poor network, it's connecting to my local host, but it's still working. So that is still working. So let's just close our postman, but I need to ensure that there is some functions that are not working. Okay, so that is also working. It's correct right now. It's working correct. It was there to ensure that our database is running fine. So our API is still working. Get function. So let's just look at our browser. See, we still have our API running. So it's perfect. It's working perfect. Don't worry, we have not broken anything. So we have our API working. We have our tour app working. At the end of the day, I told you we need to ensure that everything is working. So I'm just firing our main tour application working, where we have the first database that we created in the in the morning. You can see it is running on port 2064 secure port, which is perfect. So also that one is working. Tour app, as you can see, it will be connecting to that database with the events and all that. Summary, and just give it time so that it loads. You can see how the processor, the MBs that is being used. You can snapshot how memory is being used, the processor how it's being used. You can see how you can see how the application is consuming and how much information you can get while debugging your application. using Visual Studio Code. Okay, you can see it has already loaded our pages connected to our database. Those are the DLLs that have been loaded. As you can see, still working on the background. Trust me, it's a very fast application when it has already been created, compiled, and running on a live server. But right now, as you can see, you can really follow up and see how it is being done. It is the things that are being working on. So you can see it has loaded our login screen. We have achieved, I believe by the end of today, we have achieved the goal of today. We have loaded our main application. You can imagine if you have a group of developers who know C#, they will work on these functions. That is, they will work on XAF application. You'll have a group of developers who will work on APIs, on your APIs, and nothing is going to get broken. I'm sorry, that is our network has broken. Please connect before it times itself out. Yes, I'm not working on the same PC. I need to it's like I'm load balancing my cases, because if I record at the same time I'm recording at the same time I'm doing the coding, sometimes there is lagging of this function. So like there's the lagging of the PC. So we have the API running very well. Okay, this is the API. Somebody in the department of API will be working on the department of API, and then the developers will be creating the main applications with all the functions working. You can imagine all these functions are working. If you want us to test it, we can test it. You can just give it a name like Zach Orengo. Last name is Orengo. That is Control X, Control V, and then email zakayo123@yahoo.com. okay, and then you can save and create another. Oh, you think I was creating something that is not working? Sorry, I'm creating things that are working, bana. Save and close. I'm not making noise, bana. You can see we have first name. We can just edit, and then you can give it a name like Zach, and then you can save and close. You can see so I think there is something we did on XAF which we are going just to correct right away. You can see, so basically applications, as you make applications, you will make mistakes. Like I've just seen the value that I created, it is last name. So this first name, return first name. Okay, and then the last one is last name and then email. That is the error that it was bringing up. So we can still hit again run. So you can see you can make mistakes as you are creating your own applications, and then you're going to debug them and see them working. So you can see I was making something that is working, and it is working correctly. So we are just going to reload it. It's going to reload. It's going to update those functions. Basically what XAF does, it's going to clean up the code. I'm sorry that error has come. My network is being under attack. Nice working, guys. Nice working. So today I believe it's a beautiful day, and we have done an enormous work. I'm sorry, where I am we get sometimes a lot of noise. Let me just say thank you guys for being with us all this time. Let's go back to our system. It is already live, so let's go back to our system. So we are just going to log in, and then we are going to see it has already loaded those functions. You can imagine it was not we had misplaced some functions, so we have corrected it. So you can see you can work endlessly, and you can create a project as fast as possible. Okay, so we can look at the database. Let me just look at the something has broken again. Network issues. Let me just ensure that it is working. So yeah, it is back. It is back. Yeah, you can see we are having trouble editing the first name. So right now let's do an edit again. Hope the network is not going to break again. Yeah, it has brought some ish. Relax. My account, I think it's unresponsive from that network. One hour. Yes. Oh god, let's do this again. I think what we should do is just going to close that connection and then start again. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to close it, log out, and then I'm going to connect it again. Remote. This is okay. I'm connecting to it again so that it I think it is overwhelmed. It is being overwhelmed by my presence. Guys, it's creativity. Creativity never ends, guys. Creativity never ends. Wow, remote error, internal connection error, remote. These are the problems that you may face, my friend. Some of the problems you may face when you're working. Who is the other user? So this is, so we needed to just ensure that this one is working. So as you can see, it has a very nice UI. So first name is Orengo, and then save. Ensure it is working. As you can see, you can save and close. As you can see, it has updated correctly. So let's do some adding another one. Otieno, email otieno@yahoo.com. okay, so you save and close. As you can see, it is working correctly from XAF, guys. That is working correctly. So we have achieved one thing. Our application is running. The next thing, we are going to create an API that calls data from this point of API, and this point is going to call this data. Okay, this data that we already have in our view, these names that we have in customers. I hope I'm making sense. This data is in a database somewhere, in an application, XAF application. So this is the main system of our company, and then a user wants to use either, this is Zach from Kenya. He has an application. Let's call it, we are just going to fire up our application. That is, we are going to have our code. let me just fire up our system called, I hope it's going to run WebStorm. We're just going to open it up quickly because it's already running. I don't think it's going to fail us. So let's open it up. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Welcome back, my friend. So we have Zach. We are going to start our XAF, okay? Our WebStorm. So this is going to be a mobile application. Tomorrow before the day ends, we are going to create our mobile application, and then we are going to have our XAF running, that is our system running, and then also we are going to have our API, so that at this point we'll have like customers, get customer values, all that you're going to have the API values there. Okay, you get me? And then so our IDE for choice is WebStorm. It's already running. So at the end of the day, I just wanted us to have a mobile application, and then at the same time we're going to debug it on our phone. Okay, we're going to debug it on our phone. At the same time, we are going to have it that same application running on either a web browser. As you can see, we'll have a web browser here running, and at the end of the day, the web application running on our phones, at the same time running in our browser, at the same time our system running. So guys, we at the end of the day, tomorrow we are going to ensure all these functions are running. So guys, don't give up. Let's continue creating this system of ours. Okay, so I believe we need to, so I'm going to set it up in a nice way. I'm going to create the application, deploy it on an IIS, so that we don't collide, so that we ensure the application is running this side, the other side, and the other side. So before the day ends, let's ensure it is working. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Let's connect to the server again. It is tired. We have given it a lot of work today, guys. We have connected it and given it a lot of work, guys. Other user. Who is that other user? Who is that other user? Am I connecting to my application with other people? But that's the story of another day. So we have our XAF, what I was just telling you about, Ionic serve. So we are going just to write here Ionic serve. That is, we have our mobile application running, guys. This is our mobile application. So basically, I normally forget. I should change to CMD, and then I run the Ionic serve. Okay, so we have our application running we have all those functions, things running. Trust me, just for your information, we might get new errors coming. I've not worked on Visual Studio for okay, basically Ionic for a long time, so we might get new errors, but it is not out of the box. We're just going to the things I learned sometimes back. I believe it's going to help us go the next mile. So let's see our mobile app running. We need to have 3 functions here, so this is what we are expecting. That is what we need. Homepage, this is the API, the application. Okay, I'm just going to give it a funny name. This is the application, this is the API, and then this is the mobile app. Localhost 8000, that is the app running. So from this side, 8000 is running, app is running. So you can see the main application is running, the app is running, and then at the same time it has to run. By the way, it has to run, my friend. We have done this the entire day, so it has to run. It has to run before the day ends. Okay, let me just push it there. That application has to run. Put 8000. Let's edit this thing and then we make it, because also Java language is running, so let's just try to kill some processes, guys. This is how it is done. So I'm just going to disable that. Okay, because we are using TypeScript. Okay, TypeScript for faster. Guys, as you can see, my hand is moving faster. So guys, in the next like 1 minute, we just need to conclude this. I need it to run. I'm sorry, my computer is so slow, but we have covered. Okay, we have covered ASP.NET API running, XAF application running. By the way, it is a complete secure application. You can log out. Guys, you didn't ask me to show you this. As we are waiting for our application to bundle. It is bundling, by the way. It is bundling. Bundling. Sijui kama kuna kitu kingine hapa. Okay, that is sorry. That one was not supposed to be. So it has to run. Okay, we are waiting to come to life. Okay, .NET framework. So that one is okay, that is login. We can still log in. We just see what we have done. That is the XAF framework. If you have not tested it, test it, my friend. That is it. We have the Nini also. Okay, it's still loading. Still loading. Oh my goodness. Entertainment. Oh god. Let's connect it again. So yeah, it's bundling. That's perfect. It has already bundled it, so we can now open our browser and see. So we can just reload that and see our application running. Where are you? Oh my god. My goodness. Guys, it's bad. This is bad. Real bad, real bad, real bad, real bad. So you can see our application is running. Our application is running 8100. It was not 8000, which is okay. So our mobile application is running. So we just need to create some customer field here. As you can see, we're going to modify this and we are going to do it tomorrow. So guys, have a blessed day. Okay, I need it. We got to see it one more time, right? Before we run away. Before we run away. We have our local host. Okay, we have our Ionic application running. At the same time, we have our XAF running. So this our XAF running is this one. The XAF application running, our Ionic app running, and then our our API running. So guys, have a lovely evening. We're just going to stop everything, and then tomorrow, guys, we have done this the entire day. So we are just going to stop. I'm going to ensure that I have JetBrain. We call it okay, it's a JetBrain something that is going to auto completions and all that. It's going to be working on the at the end. I had installed it. There's a new one that has come, so let's just open it. I can still open it. It's called toolbox. It's called a toolbox. There's a toolbox that has just is on the market right now. So guys, have a blessed evening. We are doing this tomorrow. Our XAF, now we are just going to test our application. We're just going to test data from this XAF application going to the API. And thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Let's meet tomorrow.